Okay, well, sorry, we are live, just so you know.
I thought we were.
I was just setting a few things up. We really started off with a bang for the YouTube audience.
Inside.
But we did say 10. It's 10:12. We're late. My parents have to go to bed. I feel like we let them down. So we have to get started, fellas.
We're near.
Here.
We might as well start. Me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. And only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight, so happy together. If I should call you up, invest the time, and say that you belong to me, it ease my mind. Imagine how the world would be so very fine, so happy together. Yeah. Well, I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. Well, it's me and you and me. No matter when they toss the dice, it was to be. The only one for me was you, and you for me. We're so happy together. Well, I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life.
You know, it was February 1973, I think it was, around Valentine's Day. There was a man wearing a pair of plaid pants taking his lady on the town. I'll tell you. It was a night for romance. It was a night to make a great child. 9 months later, October 10th, 1973, Pete Van Dyke was born from the loins of our guest tonight, Willie and Barb Van Dyke, people. And we brought as our audience the entire Van Dyke siblings. Come on, let's hear it for yourselves. That's a ton of people here, folks. This is going to be a hell of a time, but there's only one way to get it started.
How's that, Peter?
That's the new thing we call a theme song, Michael. And you don't want to miss this show, buddy. Welcome everybody to Live from the Dutch Hall. We are Canada's only late night talk show and the greatest podcast ever to come out of a pool shed in Pine Grove, Ontario, bar none. And I believe we are that way because we have the greatest band in Canadian late night history, the Nocturnal Emissions, comprised this week of just my favorite three. Our band leader Michael Bow on vocals and lead guitar.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Beside him, playing the role of the balls of the Nocturnal Emission, this is the first time we've ever had German balls, and I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it.
German ball.
It's a Panzer.
Yeah.
Steve the Reluctant German is here, everyone.
Hey.
And keeping a close up. I'm not going to... And tickling the skins over there is our CRTC required Frenchman. The French tickler, Kev Belanger, is here. And as always, we have to have a bartender, a director. Sometimes I need a builder, a brother. All those B words. I get this man right here. My brother Paul Van Dyke is here.
Hello, Bob.
But according to our listeners, there's a bit of a controversy stirring up between this lady sitting right beside my brother, and that's my sister Lori.
Hooray!
Bailey Adcock says that she is a far better bartender. So we'll see tonight. Lori Ball's here, everyone. Let's hear it for her.
I'll get anybody drinks.
And not to feel left out, beside her at the bar is my baby sister, Lisa Vandenbush, everyone. There she is. Staying out of the bartending fiasco. And we got me and Paul's wives on the couch, but we're not going to introduce them because we don't want you pervs on the internet looking at them. Hey, Paul?
Yeah, they're pervs.
Yeah, but none of your goddamn business where they are. They're off camera.
Shut
Leave
your
them
eyes if
alone.
you know what's good for you.
But over there on the other side of my two brother-in-laws, Ryan Vandenbush and Jeff Ball, people.
All right.
And really, if we're not introducing our wives, there's only one more person.
We don't got nothing to say, eh? Hey, well, we got one more guy.
Yeah, it's me.
It's the host of this thing. It's the host from Live from the Dutch Hall, folks. It's your two-time
Two-time.
President's Club Award winner, Pete Van Dyke, folks.
Yeah, click on me.
There he is. The director was slow on
Oh, it's because my thing's slow, yeah.
No, I was waiting.
Sister-in-law.
He's building the suspense.
That was a good opening, eh? I thought it was really good.
Pretty good.
Did you recognize the song, Mom?
Yeah.
No, did you recognize the song, Pop? Pardon me? I couldn't hear him.
I said I was drunk at the time.
Oh, you was drunk at the time. I nailed it, though, didn't I, Mom? That was probably how it went down? The pants and everything? Yeah, nice nut huggers back in those days. In the 70s, you like to wear them high and tight and with a nice plaid, you know? I like that. That's what made Pete Van Dyke.
Yep.
A nice smelly polyester pants afterwards.
The big zipper went down.
Those go to the dry cleaner. You do not put those in the dryer. That'll harden whatever mess was in my dad's pants. Some of that made me.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sure did.
Yeah.
All your brothers and sisters.
They're all here. Yeah, anyways, I think that it's important. This show is kind of a big one because there's been a lot of stuff going on. You know, sometimes people will say to you, they'll say, hey, how's it going, Pete? You know, and they don't say that to you, Steve. They'd probably say, how's it going, Steve?
That's right.
And then they go, but they'll say, how's it going? And like, what's up? And you say, like, nothing much, you know, or not too much, or not a heck of a lot. You know, those sorts of responses are probably the most common response. Would you say that's true, Lori?
Yes.
See, Lori's on it. And but this time when people ask me, I actually have a lot to say. I have a lot of stuff going on, and I've been kind of debating how we can announce this to the Live from the Dutch Hall audience, you know? I thought, how are we going to make all these announcements? Because I was thinking about how to exploit them to my benefit in the best way possible, and then I realized I'm not that smart. I just have to get it all out because we're going to end up talking about it anyways, and it's easier if everyone knew what we were talking about, right?
Right.
It's no longer the summer of announcements.
I don't think it can be the summer of announcements. There's too many announcements. They all blend together, and it makes a great story, I think, right? Because this is the story, okay? As it's told, right? Pete Van Dyke lives as a life as a farm boy, right? Farm boy, and working on a farm since I'm about, how old did I start work, Pup?
Not old enough yet. Well, you definitely weren't old enough, but
I wasn't really old enough, but I started work early, you know, and then you learn that kind of the work ethic and the resourcefulness of a farmer, right? So I got that when I was a kid, and then I go away to school because I had to have something to fall back on if I was going to go into farming, and then I ended up working at a turn of events I turned into a banker, which was as we were raised on a farm in the 80s, a banker is not like the hero of the household, right? He was a piece of garbage, right? Like that's it. You don't think of him as the hero of the story, right? He's the villain with a curly mustache like Charters, right? That's who a banker is in my mind as a kid, you know. It wasn't a good guy, you know. And then I'm doing it for a living, and then you kind of like, okay, I'm in and out of this thing for 5 years tops, because I knew I just needed the money because you're trying to be a grown up, right? And then you end up like having babies and buying a house, and then next thing you know, that 5 years turns into longer than you expected, and you've given up on your hopes and dreams of everything that was fun in life, right? So then I leave. As some other turn of events, I left, worked in optometry for a bit, until my wife fired me, and then then I go to what I can only probably describe as probably the worst period of my life, which was like a period of long depression. Which I've always had anxiety, but then the depression kind of kicked in when I didn't know what to do with myself. And the real thing was that I decided I was going to go look at the internet, and then the whole thing, because I was so stuck in the corporate mindset, the whole thing was so new to me. Like I didn't pay attention to the internet really, and I was thinking, it's kind of the great equalizer. You can have everybody. Anyone can do anything. And the market's the world. And then so it kind of opened up my mind to possibilities being everything. So when you open up your brain to thinking, and everything is the things you can think about, that's too many things to think about. You have to narrow it down to less than everything, or your brain will kind of start to smoke and do what happened to me, which is break. It didn't work anymore. And so I couldn't even do things like read. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't fill out a form. I couldn't do all these things. And it's not something that garners a lot of sympathy because you're depressed. You think that everyone's depressed at times. They get sad. And then you think that that's going to be something that, it's like toughen up, or stop being lazy or do whatever, But if you ever grieve the loss of a loved one, that feeling you get. If you had to do that every day, and it takes its toll on you if there's no end to it. So, as it turns out, you're kind of in a coma through that. Like you're kind of, what you're doing, but you're in this kind of hazy thing. And I've recently come out of it, and I found out that I started a podcast and
now,
stand-up comedy. And I'm like, wow, that's two things I really wasn't expecting. But at least I wasn't behind the desk at the banquet, so I was pretty happy, right? But then I started thinking, what can I do with myself to use all the things that I learned over the time that I did it? So I learned all the evil tricks of a banker, right? And I did that. I learned the work ethic and the resourcefulness of a farmer. And that's also what I studied when I was working. Was I studied farmers because that's who I was lending money to. So then I studied their businesses and their business plans and how they did things. And I love the entrepreneurship of a farmer. I liked the way he could stand on his own 2 feet and he didn't have to answer to anyone else. I liked how you could be your own boss and do things your way, to a certain extent, And that's why I didn't like working for any big corporation or company, because it wasn't true to what I felt a success was. Success was a guy who could do it for himself, not a guy who was doing it for some big company, because they're getting all the benefit and you're not, like the employee is not ever. So then it turns out it wasn't bad. You make a lot of money there, so it's kind of good. And I didn't want to spend it when I made it because I knew I wanted out of there. So I was good with it and I put it away. And I always kind of liked the idea of owning a church. And I thought that, I just thought of it always in my mind. It would be nice to own a church because it's like kind of like the church always kind of bugged me because it was one of those institutions. Like I always didn't like being told what to do when I was a kid. And so like anything that they would try to like tell you how to be or how to live or whatever, including the church, I would always question. And they never really gave good answers as far as I was concerned. So I always thought it would be kind of cool if I owned one of their churches as they're all closing, and I'm the one owning it with my philosophy of like, fuck you, like it kind of shows that I won, So anyways, this church came up for sale, and I thought I might want to buy it, because we live in a place where for whatever reason, you can get things pretty cheap compared to everywhere else.
Yep.
And it fits my goal. Because as a kid, I always thought, Delhi's got a German hall. They got a Hungarian hall, represent my mother's side of the family.
Wrong with
right? You got a Belgian Hall. Are you kidding me? I know they're closed now. God rest their soul.
Good run though.
Good run.
Great run.
Hats off to the Belgians. Yeah. You don't like to give it to them, but when the Belgians start giving us flack, or God forbid, the goddamn Germans from the German Hall, and they say, "Hey, Dutchman, where's your Dutch Hall?" You know, and I gotta say it's in a pool shed in Pine Grove, Ontario. You know the shame of that, Michael? You know, you ever march around Delhi and have to defend yourself like that?
I have.
Yeah, it's not good. So I think it's about time a wrong was righted, and we moved the Dutch Hall to the church in Delhi, Ontario. What do you say?
Fuck
Let's
yeah.
do it.
That's another announcement.
Yeah.
So that's our plan, our goal, and that is what we intend to do. We are not quite to the point where you can say we've purchased it, but we're working towards that end, and we think it's going to be a great run. And I think what's nice about this is that I can start to. Anyways, I thought about buying the church. Anyways, and then I started bidding with them, and it didn't work out. And then me and Charters went away to that concert, and when I came back, I started having those health problems. And then while I thought I was going to die, you know, I said, I'm not going to buy a church because it's a little ostentatious to buy a church when it's just like buying a monument for yourself. Like, it's like, I'm going to buy a huge church with a big spiky ball on top right before I die. And then they'll have to like put a statue of me in front of it. Yeah. That'd be really.
Worship me.
Yeah. So I didn't think that I wanted to do that. So I was like, I'll wait till see if I can live. And then it turns out it's good news, bad news, you know. The bad news is that I found out I have cancer. I have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. The good news is it's kind of like cancer light. It's like if it was AIDS, it would be the type of AIDS that Magic Johnson has, you know. It's like I'll probably get a talk show out of it. It's not a bad thing, is what it is. So it's kind of like easy cancer, if there's such a thing. It's an easy one to get. It's a good one to get, they tell you, right? So I got that one, but as it turns out, I had insurance. So if I got that one, even though it's not really that bad, I still get money. Yeah, so I put it. So then I can do everything I want to do in the church, and I get to live. That's the other good part. So then I decided to buy the church and use the money for what I want to do inside the church. And it all worked out, and it was paid for by God, who gave me cancer.
Hallelujah.
And then bought a church with it.
Yeah,
God gave you cancer and money.
yeah. I wish I had more diseases I could get if I could keep getting paid. I was like, if I get lupus, can I get another 10 grand? We got more equipment we need to buy, you know. I got the gout.
Does that qualify?
So is that it for announcements? I did it. I did depression, cancer, church.
How you feel?
How do I feel?
Good about getting that out?
Yeah, it does feel kind of good.
Good
Yeah,
for you,
Right.
Peter.
yeah, it feels good because then we can just go forward. The big thing I like is that I always hated working for other people because you always, in my mind, you always want to do things your way. I think even Papa, when I was growing up on the farm, I was probably young and still telling you what I thought you should do before I had the right to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. You told. I got you a hockey stick when you were born,
Yeah.
and you basically gave it back to me in beginners.
Yeah.
Going, here, stick it.
Yeah. It was, and I bet you if you told me not to play hockey, I probably would have been playing hockey now. You know, it was just, I just didn't, even though school I did good in, but they would still tell you like the curriculum or whatever was set up to like manage everybody. I'm like, and I always didn't want to be everybody. I was like, so I always made it hard. So when you're in a workplace, it's the same thing, like a big corporate workplace. They all want you to be the same, and they all want you to dress the same and talk the same. Like literally, they tell you language to say. They teach you how to talk to people.
Stay within these lines.
Yeah. So my company, I'd like to be none of that, because that costs money, eh? And if you have to compete with these big corporate assholes, then like let's look what they have to do. The money doesn't go to. This is a bit of preaching, okay? But the money.
You do own a church.
I do own a church. Yeah. Thank you. I feel like Pope Pete.
Not yet.
Pope, right to Pope.
Preacher.
Not even father, right to Pope.
Right to Pope.
Not even bishop.
Preacher, Peter.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, it doesn't even have to go through like
Right to
the
the
minor
fucking-
leagues. Eh?
Hey, I was thinking prophet, Paul.
Maybe
I was
he'll
thinking-
be saint.
Oh, that. Anyways, what was I thinking? What was I saying?
Gonna preach.
Oh yeah, I was going to preach. I was saying that if you have to compete against a corporation, right? The corporation services the shareholders always. So if you don't have shareholders, you don't have to pay them, right? So then by its very nature, if you're not one of them, the publicly traded companies, you don't have to pay all those people. That you also don't have to, if you're not in a city, if you're in a shitty town, not shitty, small town like Delhi.
That's better.
Better, thank you. Sorry, I'm sorry. But a small town like Delhi, then your costs are way less than it would be in a bigger center. And you look what happens in New York or like any of the big cities, and they take where the poor people used to live, and all the people come and gentrify it and make it better again. And then it's too expensive, and then people get pushed out of the cities, and they start fixing up the smaller towns, and that's kind of how it works, you know. So eventually, it's going to become too expensive to live in the cities, and who's the people that are like the first to go are the poorest, which are the artists, you know, who can't make a living. They can only make a living in the city, but they have to pay city prices in order to do so. So it ends up being counterintuitive. So if I don't have to pay senior management for some corporation, middle managers, and all those douchey people like from HR or what?
That's all that shit's flying right over my head.
You never, because you never did it, right? Because you never had to do it. But I bet you know, Lori, right? What all this stuff is? It's horrible. It's all stuff that gets in the way of actually doing the job, right? So I'd like to not do any of that stuff. Same with union reps too. To go on the other side of it, like
By the sounds of things, it's good I wasn't smart enough.
yeah. Well, it didn't suit me. You could do well there, but it's like you still have to do crap. You know, you still got to dance like a monkey for them, right? Yeah, hold on, your mic's off right now. I'd like to hear it, but
Test.
There you are.
there you are.
What would the world be like if the world was full of entrepreneurs and there was no corporate greed and there's just no big companies like what you're talking about?
That's the point. That's a good thing you brought up greed too, because that's the other thing you don't have to pay for. If there's just that greediness that's there for the CEOs and all that stuff, if you didn't have that greed, you wouldn't need as much money to operate, you know? Like everyone could just live some countries believe this way, that you just live a simpler life, that you just don't want as much. And if you're happy with what you got, then aren't you successful then? Right?
It's a disease, though. Some of these people, doesn't matter $100,000 or it's $100 million. You know, like if you made $100,000, well, I can make $100 million now. So then,
there's never a limit.
Yeah, like how much do you really need to fucking make to live? You need a roof over your head. You need food. You need to get around. And you need to take care of yourself. And yeah, if you can take care of your family for your next generation and give them a good start, then that'd be awesome.
Yeah. But hopefully, if you give them a good start by raising them well, they're not going to need you financially. They're going to need you because they like you or whatever. You know.
100%.
That's what I think. You know, like if I give my kids too much, I only see money turning kids into assholes. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't see money turning kids into nice kids very often. You know. You have to kind of like make yourself poor on purpose. Also, that's what I like about this church is that it's hard. Like nobody's going to buy a church. It's stupid, right? Like it's really crazy, right? And then you're like, oh, that's why if no one's doing it, then that's a good reason for me to do it because no one's doing it, right? And then
Fits your criteria.
that fits my criteria because it must be really hard then. So then I have to figure it out. It's going to be even harder. That's going to at least make the longer period of my life happy because I'll be struggling to figure out answers to all the things I screw up. I'm pretty excited about it.
Keep you busy.
Yeah, it is. It beats being complacent because like you can give me all the money in the world, and if I have nothing to do, I'm gonna atrophy. You know, like I'm just not gonna
Atrophy.
So what are you doing in the church?
Atrophy means like shrivel up and die. It means like you're just it's like if you have an arm you don't use,
That's how I feel.
and then it grows it's really small. It's like your dick.
Yeah, use it.
Big and strong.
What are you going to do in your church?
What am I going to do in my church? Well, right now, I have a young engineer that is looking at the upstairs with me, French tickler, Kevin Belanger.
When you think of a church, what do you think you can do with it? And then
Play music.
Acoustic.
it's very, very nice sounding.
Yeah.
And a church is pretty well idolized in the recording industry of a space that is naturally character that you can record your band in or your voice in or your story in or whatever you need audio recorded in.
Yeah, so right now we're looking at the loft, like the choir loft as being the recording booth, and then the church floor as being the performance floor, which could be for live performance, it could be for recording. And then we also downstairs have another big box with a stage, which can be anything at the beginning. It could be rented for corporate events, or it could be because there's a kitchen along with it. And there's it could also be used for studios. We're thinking about making more working with the artists to help promote their thing. Because I noticed a lot of the artists I work with in comedy, they're all trying to do their own thing kind of by themselves. They're all like kind of floating down, and they're all struggling to kind of try to be everything to everyone. And then as a result, it's harder to do, you know, whereas if there was as a collective, if everyone was pushing in the same direction and we were all offering each other services, then I think that would work better for everyone. So the model that I'm making in the basement of the church is basically that, is that whether it be through subcontracting. So it's like if Ryan does A and Jeff does B and Paul does C, you know, together, if they all had a business, they would all do A, B, and C, because they would subcontract out to each other. So if one guy does website design, and one guy does social media marketing, and one guy does, like a booking.
And one country does food, Belgium Hall. Maybe the Belgium Hall can rent that kitchen and do like a Belgium Hall night where they serve Belgian food.
Isn't
Hungarian Hall can
church?
do that.
I think
Hungarian.
it's a Hungarian church.
Well, we're also going to maximize every asset that's in the church. And one of the things that's in the church is 12 pots, huge pots.
Score.
Yeah, which I think are the best things I've ever seen, these
My mom
pots.
can make a heck of a nice Sunday soup.
You're goddamn right she can. And she's on my list of people to talk to is my Aunt Frances. I'm going to teach her to make me a little meatball soup.
Nice.
I'm going to talk to some of the Hungarian professionals that I happen to be related to see about making la chica leves.
Nice.
Yeah?
Nice.
Sounds
Yeah?
delicious.
Yeah? You
I
want
like
me
it.
to, Belgium's got a soup, Ryan?
They got
Pigeon soup.
what the
Pigeon
hell they
soup,
call
probably.
it. Yeah. No, it was a name. It wouldn't surprise me if it was, but it was really tasty. That's a put. No, not that's a put.
It's probably just got like a pigeon
It's
and a
got
bicycle
it's
tire
got
in it.
everything in it. It's got a piece of ham, corn, grain, you name it. It's like, there's
about
everything in it.
Yeah.
That's a put. I want to say that's what it's called. That's a put.
That's it, but I don't think we were to serve it right away.
Special events.
Yeah, but no, honestly, but the kitchen is very close to being good. So we might as well use it to see if we can keep the lights on down there. And we're right across from the high school, so we'll probably get that kitchen open too.
That's awesome.
And then there's where the Sunday school is in the back, we're making an artist residency, and it's also going to have creator spaces in the back. But if the artists want to use it, either that are performing, so they can stay in the area, they can stay right at the facility. So that's a long-term plan of what we want to do, but we have to find money to do it. So we have to be creative, and we have to come up with interesting ways to have people care about what we're doing. And it's been working out pretty good. In the music world, especially, Kevin and I were out buying equipment, and everybody we talked about what we're doing from the city.
Jealousy and excitement.
Yeah.
And ranging from your subpar, poor, starving musician level all the way up to industry standard people who work in the industry every day, people we listen to on the radio every day. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's
One-stop shop.
yeah.
Fuck yeah, Delhi. Hey?
Yeah.
Best thing that happened to Delhi in years.
It's about time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dutch Hall moving in. And we still have to work out some things, so we'll keep you updated because I think it's fun. If you guys have we're trying to think of a name for the church. So any ideas would be appreciated. You could always just give us some feedback even.
Dutch Hall? Just the Dutch Hall?
Yeah, give us some feedback at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com. That is. And tell us what you think, what we should be called. And that leads us into a segment.
Dutch Hall.
Dutch Hall, hashtag Happy Church.
Yeah, you know what it's called? It's called feedback. We got feedback.
motherfucking feedback.
There you go, Lori.
There you
That's
go.
how you do it.
That is nice. I think we may have to have tandem bartenders in the future. It seems to work well. Because Lori actually got me a drink.
Yeah.
And
You want some
Paul.
more? I can.
It's a miracle.
I really like having her here. And welcome to Feedback. We got feedback. This week's show is brought to you by our friends from Amazon. Hey, you know what you do? You buy shit from those Amazon people anyways. You might as well give
Sure do.
some to us, right? He don't give no shits. He's like the richest guy in the world.
Right.
So you go to our website, you click on our Amazon banner, and then you do your shopping. Only if you're going to do it anyways with them.
That's right.
And then you steal their money and give it to us. It's like Robin Hood.
Is there any way to buy a church through Amazon?
Yeah. Well, no. But you can,
Church accessories.
You can
There you go.
You can
Many.
buy enough candles that eventually I could buy a church with the proceeds. If you keep clicking on the banner, but it would be a lot of candles.
Please click the banner.
Just do it. Just click
Buy
it.
anything.
Yes.
Huh? Some people do fancy things like they put it in their favorites or whatever, or they make it their homepage.
That way
Just
they
my
remember.
and they remember, and then they always do it. And they don't go to Amazon at all. They just go to livefromthedutchhall.com. Anyways, I'm just bragging.
That's good.
Hey, Norpac.
The beef people.
Man.
Wow.
I give it to Lori.
This one.
It's a race.
You know what? Today was
About bit me.
today. This whole week has been our family vacation, and what our family vacation is, and I got to tell you, this is a story I'm proud of, and I'm ashamed of at the same time. Number one, we got our first request for Van Dyke Party Services.
Yes.
And we turned the job down.
What?
Yeah, we turned the job down. I went to the party, and also Ryan, who's not a Van Dyke, so he didn't count, went to the party. And Paul did. He counts. And Lisa did.
Counts.
3. We got 3. And
No,
she's
she doesn't
Krista.
count.
Krista was there too. Also not a Van Dyke. She doesn't count. She's like Ryan. You need Van Dyke pure blood in order to give a good time. No offense to you two guys. You're a lot of fun. But you're not.
You're not pure.
You're not
Krista, you
pure
should've
bred Van Dyke
You
fun.
needed me. I wasn't there.
To wear the jacket, and to make the deal right, you need between 5 and 29 Van Dyke first cousins. And whatever party or social event you're having is going to go from being just the lame stuff you normally do to the time of your life. Because I don't know why, but we're good at it. We're good at boozing and having a good time. And all it's going to cost you is $100 of cold hard cash, plus all of our expenses, which will be dear. And if you're not 100% satisfied, we'll return that $100, but those expenses will run through our bodies and potentially yours. Van Dyke Party Services,
Do not live your life in regret.
brought to you by Clean Flow. Clean Flow, I'm sorry we let you down.
What up,
We let you
Clean
down.
Flow?
And Carl as well, we also let you down. Shame on us. He did shame us on the way out, which we deserved.
You shamed? Yeah, you did deserve it.
Paul said it's a new rule. Paul said that
5 of you got 5 Van Dykes got to like you.
5 Van Dykes got like he said. And that and that's
You got 3. That's all right.
yeah, that was
3 out of 29 ain't bad.
I think he should be nicer to us. He shouldn't throw rocks after Van Dyke Christmas. That's what I told him. Anyways, I don't know what happened there. We never thought anyone would call us, I think.
Just a bit shy.
Caught us off guard, but it was the holiday weekend. And by the way, I wanted to mention where Charters is before we get too far into feedback. I cut just Norpac.
The beef
people.
Oh, Paul won, 1-1.
Sure.
So,
No,
but I did want to say that
You're crazy. I was just doing my job.
Lori's very competitive. She's really intense, eh?
I like you, but you're crazy.
She scared the shit out of me.
All it takes is to bring her to life and just say Norpac.
The beef people.
Tie.
Wow. That was too close to call. You could not call that, eh, Jeff?
No, tie.
Bye.
Charters, once a year, Charters decides he won't do our show. He's going to go up to one of Canada's national parks and try to convert the black bears to Catholicism
Hard C.
with his family. So my mercy goes out to all the black bears in Cypress Lake National Park. You were listening to Dave drone on about, mostly about, what is it, pulling out? Dave's favorite part of being Catholic. What was it that he said? The rhythm method.
Yes, he enjoys it. Probably made a song about it, I would assume.
He's teaching bears the rhythm method. Basically, what Dave's doing is he's just like fucking bears and blowing it on their back. So he's doing it for Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
Nice family vacation. Good going, Charters.
Good going.
Sounds awesome.
Last person that we need to get our sponsors in. We need to get our sponsors in. And there's one thing we're doing. We're buying a church. You know what you need to do when you're buying a church and renovating a church? You need some electrical work done in that church. So guess what, people? We're going to need Derek Yarmy and Yarmy Electric, so stop fucking calling him. Yeah. All right? You got something you want to do in the fall? Tough shit. He's busy with my shit. Yarmy Electric. We don't get right the first time. We'll get it right the second time. And we don't get it right the second time.
You can go fuck yourself.
Ah. Man, oh man,
like
stereo. That sounded
That was
good.
dead tie.
Man, this has been a good one. So this week, this is a feedback episode. That last week we did not hear feedback from one of our greatest fans, Willie Van Dyke.
Oh yeah.
Who never is without feedback. And this time he, when he saw me about last week's show, he said you didn't mention it. And you know what else, Pup? The cheese lady, we didn't mention hers either. It was a feedback fuck up last week, and we didn't have her act together. So is there any?
We just didn't have our act together.
We just didn't have it
Get your
together.
poop in a group, for God's sake.
And so, is there anything that you had that you had to get off your chest about this week's show?
This week's show, no.
Or no, not this week, but though.
This was like 4 or 5 shows ago.
Did you remember what it was about?
Please be about Dave. Please be about Dave.
Dave and his one-finger guitar. No, it was about guys that have a lot of money and have a mate that doesn't really match.
Guys that have a lot of money, and then they're like they're.
No, like,
Oh, right.
The matchup with when I was on
couples,
last time.
Yeah, when you were told us you were in love with PK Subban.
I never said that. I just said I could see how he might be attractive. That's what I said.
and my feedback was anyway. Like,
Oh, sleepy
Oh,
sleeper. Sleepy sleeper.
the feedback was Alex Ovechkin.
Alex Ovechkin's a woman is super hot.
She's a model, yes.
Yeah, and he's super ugly.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He's Stanley Cup champion now.
Yes, he is, but he still doesn't.
Still no
He's
good.
not the best looking guy in the NHL.
No.
Damn good hockey player, though. Fuck.
But he's kind of likable. He's one of those guys that probably gets better looking when you get to know him because he's got some sort of quality about him, you know? Like you want to not like him, but I end up liking him every time I watch him. Like I just like the fact that he's like
He can score 50 goals a year.
yeah, he's awesome, and
he loves the game. He fucking loves the game.
he loves everything. He loves his life. He's had a great life.
Yeah. And then he just gets
It's fun.
ripped up all summer.
He's
after
way
he
too
wins
young to
it.
be gray, right?
Yeah.
Isn't he?
is, eh?
He's gray too. He's ugly and gray.
Yeah, has he been sober since?
He is now. He's working out again. They're showing. Yeah. They got videos of him like sobering up, working his ass off to get ready for the season.
He'll have the worst year ever now. Eh?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
fucking done.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get rid of him now.
He doesn't care.
Oh, he's drying
Oh,
up now.
he did it.
He won the Stanley Cup. That's all.
Yeah, he's
The
done.
Russians are fucking.
Has he got a gold medal yet? Do you know Ovechkin? Has he got a gold medal?
I don't think so.
That's still the holy grail. Yeah.
Sid's got his number on that one still.
Yeah. That's a big one because I think that's even more important to those Russians than the Stanley Cup is their gold medal, right?
Sure.
Because you get to do it for your own country.
When's the last time Russia won a gold medal?
I don't know. Probably when they were the USSR, Mom. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
When that dirty Gorbachev, remember his thing on his forehead?
Pizza, yeah, little pizza stain up there.
Yeah. I didn't know what that was.
It's tomato sauce.
How do you
That's
win an
me.
election with that on your face? You couldn't do it now, right? Not with that thing on your face. They crucify. You can't be. You gotta look like Trudeau or something, right? To get elected, you gotta be some sort of a pop icon like that, or Trump. Who's sexy in a different way. Anyways, what were we talking about? Oh, but we forgot the cheese lady, and this week we need to make amends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why are we gonna check in on her?
Yeah, let's check in with it.
Well, chicken on the cheese lady, on the cheese lady, chicken on the cheese lady, she's always on the run. Chicken on the cheese lady, on the cheese lady, chicken on the cheese lady, she's always having fun. Chicken on the cheese lady, on the cheese lady, chicken on the cheese lady, she's always on the run. Chicken on the cheese lady, on the cheese lady, chicken on the cheese lady.
Every song we say shake our bums.
Teresa from the Second Mouse is a very loyal listener of our show. She likes to listen on Friday mornings when she's doing her work around the shop there in Delhi.
Morning, Teresa.
And we like to always give her a shout out in this feedback segment. But last week I couldn't get my phone working, and I didn't, and that's the only place I had it, and I couldn't listen to it. So this is I'll get last week's. This was about hot Pop-Tarts right by the egg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Remember that one?
Good name.
Yeah, she said hashtag listening in Delhi every week and starting my weekends off right. Am I wrong to like your filthy conversations the most? Of course not, Teresa.
Beautiful.
Those are our favorites as well. Cockballs.
Ass. Tits.
Fuckles.
Taint.
Oh yes, fuckles.
Damn it, I couldn't think of anything more.
Cunt.
Good one, Lisa.
I knew
Big
that
C.
was
The
coming.
big
Real-
C. Had to come
A
from the
real conversation stopper. Good thing I've met you, Pete. Otherwise, I would have pictured you as a Sasquatch with stones in his dick. LOL.
Whoa.
Actually, that is a fairly good description of me, I think. Except I got that stone out of my dick now.
It's out.
So I'm just a Sasquatch without a stone in my dick. Thank you, Teresa. But then a week later, after fucking teat dippers, you remember fucking teat dippers?
Teat dippers.
Oh,
It was
Fucking
last
teat
week.
dippers.
And we still are looking for anyone in Oxford County who knows a guy who's fucked a teat dipper to please give us an email at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com. And just, we won't even use his real name. We can make an alias. I just want the story of when you caught your buddy fucking a teat dipper. I know someone's doing it in Oxford County.
Yeah, just a picture of their orange cock will work too.
Anything you can come up with.
Yep.
I know it's out there. Said you missed my feedback last episode. Holy, even Teresa can do it.
Yes.
Or was it because I was speaking it?
Yeah, you.
Oh, yes, maybe. Hashtag Swiss cheese heart, sad face. Oh, I put a hole in her heart, and then she made it a cheese thing, too.
Oh, wow.
She loves cheese.
That's deep.
Her and Chargers, eh? They would really hit it off. Hey, did you miss it because it was about you, Pete? No. As a matter of fact, I would like it more knowing it's about me. Please don't do feedback about anyone else. They're all. It's annoying when I have to hear praise about other people other than me. I don't like it. This is what she said after that. She said, "I think you guys should challenge. I think guys should do a challenge and post it like the Kiki challenge. Do you know what the Kiki challenge is?
Is it like the Tide Pod challenge?
Oh.
I don't know. That's like eating poison, right?
Do you have
Yeah.
to put things in your butthole?
I don't know.
Well, I'm out.
But so far, I'm not liking this idea, Teresa.
Kiki challenge.
All of the things that people think it is are things that don't appeal to me.
What is Kiki?
I don't know. But if we do some sort of a tobacco chat was a good episode so we can hear your horror harvest stories. I'm sure they would be entertaining, and let Steve try filling a kill before he judges. LOL.
All right.
So, quick tobacco for Teresa. Quick tobacco horror story. Anyone in the Van Dyke family want to give an old tobacco harvest story that sticks out? Maybe a problem day. Maybe a day where you saved the day. Oh, I got a good one. Kill hanging story. My favorite one. Okay. I'm in Kill 4. Remember Kill 4, Papa? It had a most of the kills had like a dirt bottom, but this one didn't. It had a cement bottom. It had the cement bottom. That's the one Jamaican guy ran the truck into, that gray truck, when it was in high heat and it lost the whole a stick kill. And Jamaican guys were always they wanted to drive.
Horrible at driving.
But they're horrible at driving. And then they would tell you, I drive at home all the time, but they don't. They're lying so they can learn to drive so they can drive at home, right?
They think it's the easy job.
And we've had twice where I've watched this guy convince us to drive one of the vehicles and then drive directly into something. One time the trees. It was that Herbie guy. Herbie drove into the trees immediately.
Herbie.
This guy was huge, this Herbie guy. And I was hanging rat kills at the time, teaching this guy because he's a giant guy. Like we thought he'd be able to hang rat kills. And then so he goes, all you had to do was, we were using 2 trucks with flatbeds on them as like to take the tobacco off and put it in the rack, right? And all this guy had to do was take the truck around, like do like a horseshoe shape U, and then I would drive the other truck in, right? That's it.
Just moving the truck.
Yeah, just had to do it like and then the boat driver would get in the other truck and take off, right? But no, what Herbie did was instead of making the U, he did like an L, right into the trees beside the propane tank.
He did an L.
And then you can see the back tires spinning against the trees. Just got his foot pinned on the gas the whole time, and the key's broken off in his hand. And I'm like, I'm like 18 or something. Like I got to pull this adult, a Jamaican guy out of like throw him to the ground, so I can get him to stop hitting the gas. You know. Anyways, that was the one time. The other, anyways, kill 4. This is my greatest kill hanging moment. For those of you who don't know what a kill hanger does, the only true kill hanger is not a rat kill hanger, though I am very accomplished at that task.
And not an easy task.
Not an easy task. But stick kills is my real passion job, the one I love with all my heart, you know, because you get to be in there all by yourself. Nobody bugs you, right? You get to do it your way. You're accountable for your own work. Boat driver's the worst job you can have on a tobacco farm when you're the farmer's son, because you catch shit from both ends.
Oh, yeah.
You get it in the field, you get it at the kill, right? And so you don't want to do that. In the kill yard, you only catch shit at the table. You don't get any shit for the primers. You got nothing to do with them, right? So I like the kill hanging. And so kill 4, cement bottom, 2 tiers broke.
I was gonna say, how many tiers are you up?
Yeah, I'm at the top, right? So the fourth
tier.
Fourth tier, and the tier breaks that I'm standing on, and I fall to the ground on the cement floor, and I miss 2 sticks, only 2 sticks.
Really?
Yeah, it hurt on the bottom. I managed to climb up again, just to hit the elevator off. That's what I did. That's how tough I am. That's a Canadian kill hanger, man. You go to Zimbabwe where they're curing tobacco, there ain't no kill hangers. They're willing to pay the price like that.
Cement.
That's the last job I wanted was hanging fucking kill.
Oh, it was fun, man. It was like a monkey. You could do, like, I really did like it. Like, I think that if kill hanging was an Olympic sport, I think I could podium.
This was like early tobacco.
Yeah, this is when they hung the tobacco on sticks. So
Yeah.
Pete's basically bouncing up these tiers. It's kind of like
So
Donkey
those are
Kong,
those
the
bigger
video
sheds,
game.
right? Those bigger
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
kills,
Yeah, they're like a
sheds.
2-story building.
Yep.
Like old little barns, right?
Yeah.
You would bounce up there and hang the sticks. It's a tough job.
Huh.
You saved my life once.
How so?
Being a kill hanger. You we just finished coffee break, Mom's coffee break. That
Yes.
was always like homemade goods and like
Mhm.
hot coffee. It was awesome. And I jumped off. I had my rain suit on, and my hood of my rain suit caught one of the tiers.
Oh, yeah.
And we had started already, and I'm hanging there by my raincoat, choking myself out. And you jumped down, flipped my hood off, and then you only missed a half of a stick.
Yeah, don't miss sticks.
Jeez.
You know what I like to do if the stick
Real
breaks,
machine.
Michael? This is the kind of kill hanger I was. If the stick breaks, I like to lie that on my boards. I'll save it for later. When the women are having some trouble,
Fix it up.
maybe I'll fix that with another stick I keep up there hidden away, and then just replace my own stick. That way, no people
I
aren't picking up leaves.
appreciated that.
Yeah, exactly. You know what else I like to do, Michael? When I was hanging stick kill, this is what made me the best. Is that between loads, I knew where to go, so I could just hang off the side of the elevator, so we wouldn't have to move unless it was between loads.
Right.
Even my wife Jane, when she worked on the farm with me, remember Jane when we first got married and I hung stick kill on weekends? You were impressed because I never ever made you stop the time machine, eh? It was only between loads we'd move.
Keep it rolling.
Yeah.
And
That's
we were
what-
done by noon.
Yeah, done by noon.
And that was also because
And
there
when you're
was-
taking out kill pup, you're not finding any missed sticks. I'll tell you that. Like
I
some of
have to
those
say-
scoundrel kill hangers you hired in the past. I remember them.
he also had consistent sticks coming up because of the people that were on the table. And especially the one that was in charge of the needle.
Oh,
That was
who
Lori.
would that be? Oh, Lori.
Yeah, that was Lori and
Although
Jane.
I did all of the positions. When you were up there and I was at the needle, we were a
That
good
was
team.
full crew. Yeah.
It always sounds a bit like dirty when you
Ballsy
talk
all
about.
positions.
I was the bottom. No.
Yeah. See? It was like
You
what's your-
always start out in the middle.
Yeah, like I was like saying to people. I remember when I was young, they would say like, does your girlfriend have a summer job? I'm like, oh yeah, she's working in tobacco. And they go, what'd she do there? And I say like, she's a
She's in the strip room.
yeah. Part of the year she's a hoer, and then part of the year she's in the strip room.
You're like, what?
What? A hoer?
A whore.
A whore in the strip room. Yeah, that's my wife. My wife.
She's not hoeing, she's topping.
Yeah, they're all a bit dirty. Topping, suckering. Suckering sounds kind of really dirty. Sucker oil, Mike. That sounds like something like a blowjob lube.
Spray sucker oil all over. Spray it all over.
Spray it all over. Anyways,
What you want it to be is dry, so you can lube it right up, and it rolls right down the stock.
I think the boat driver was probably the worst job though, because you're hearing people fucking from the primers or the ladies at the kill. I like priming because you're not talking to anybody really. I like kill hanging.
Yeah,
The
priming.
guys.
Priming's like the most fun, I bet, because you get to be with a crew of people and you're all doing it together. But sometimes, like one time, did you ever hear about when my dad beat up Gary Green? That's a great
The
tobacco
announcer
story.
for TSN, Gary Green?
Yeah, the announcer for TSN, the losingest coach in the NHL ever.
Thank you.
Really?
Yeah, for the Washington Capitals, he had the losingest record in NHL history, still to this day. Maybe a record that will never be broken.
Uncle Will beat the shit out of him?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Because he wasn't priming his row.
Well, I believe it.
What is he? He's got to be punished. That now they're all of a sudden farmers going to switch him. So in under tips, he's now got to prime Gary Shitty Row because he was sticking it.
Nothing worse than that.
Got 5 leaves
What?
left.
That is fucking bullshit.
One time when I was growing up at home, I remember coming in from work, and it was like the what do they call that tournament when Canada, when they're still in the NHL playoffs, but the people who didn't make the playoffs get to go represent Canada? The
World Cup.
Spangler
Spangler.
or the World Cup, one of those two, Spangler or the World Cup.
Or World Championship, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I remember Gary Green was a commentator for that, and he was on the TV. And then my dad comes in the living room, looks at the TV, and just starts like cursing and stuff.
Shit primer.
Yeah. And I didn't know. I didn't know what it was about. And it turns out I heard the priming story, and sometimes if a guy's not priming his row, you got to cuff him upside his head. Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
All right, I got a story.
Okay.
That just reminded me of one. So I had a few of my cousins work on our farm. Lisa was one who was awesome. We had an awesome crew that year. Another cousin, I won't name any names. Anyways, it happened to be my cousin's birthday. So my mom made him a nice birthday cake. Why wouldn't she? She's a beautiful woman. Heart of an angel. Makes him a cake. Well, my dad was pissed off because he primed his rows so shitty that he made him crawl on his hands and knees down the irrigation row on the outside and prime that whole fucking row up and down, the leaves he missed, until he could have a piece of cake.
Of his own birthday cake.
And we ate it all except for one piece. Because the rest of us crew were pissed about it because he's such a shitty fucking primer.
That'll learn him.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it did learn him. I don't think he was back in the next
Oh
year.
yeah, that is the thing. It's like a mob mentality. If one person sucks on that prime machine, you're all riding the same machine.
Yeah, because guess what? Farmer's son, guess whose rows you getting tips?
Yeah.
Oh, 8 leaves left.
Yeah.
Great. Fuck's sakes.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
People that
I hope
don't
this
know tobacco.
people that don't know tobacco, this is the least interesting conversation in the world. But for us, it's a lot of fun, and it turns out people like it, eh? Like Alistepa.
Just give a quick explanation of what is priming.
Priming is just when you take the leaves off. Like tobacco grows into a plant, and it's got like how many leaves? 12 or something? I'm gonna say
18,
18?
18, 19. How many back in your day, Uncle Will? Was average 18 still then? Yeah, 18 to 20. Same.
And then, but they ripen from the bottom up, so then you have to take the bottom leaves off first when they're kind of yellowing, and then let the ones at the top have more time because they're younger, and then that taking the leaves off the stalk is called priming.
Okay.
And then when you put
the size of a human,
and then when you sort through the dry tobacco, what's that? What'd you say?
The
like
plant.
how tall?
Oh yeah, the plant's about the size of a human. Yeah.
Yeah.
The size of James.
But
Yeah. Well, no, it's the size of me, and then they break it the flower off, and then make it the size of.
Oh,
Jane.
that's
that's
breaking
topping.
the top. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's breaking the top off, and that'll let it fill out, Michael. Right, but it also
Right.
give it more suckers.
Yep.
Which is not fun. Suckers
But
is
you
a
ride on
suckers
the
is a plant. It's like another tobacco plant growing out of a tobacco plant, which it does it in your tomato plants too. If you ever have tomatoes.
And what like suckers?
Right.
So it's always going to try to make a flower.
Okay.
And the green
And you gotta
worms
say,
that
you
love
gotta
the
say
suckers.
stop it,
Never understood that.
because I want delicious nicotine, right? Delicious
So
nicotine.
the trick with priming, Kev, is that you don't want to take leaves that aren't ready yet for priming. So what guys would do, if you were a good primer, you'd maybe cheat the odd time and take one up, but not too many, because you take too many, and then the primers or the farmer's gonna be on your fucking ass.
You get the tips. You got 1 or 2 left. That's not
That's
good.
right. The farmer's gonna be on your ass because you're taking too much because they're not mature, and the kill will not cure right either. So,
And then you would, as a farmer, you'd be like, okay, I know my crew, they're all going to take another leaf more than I ask, but I really only want them to take the 2 leaves, or so I'll tell them to take 1.
that's right.
So this is they take 2 because you have to try to outsmart. But if you have a shitty crew, they might just be taking the 1 or 2
Exactly.
that you tell them to,
'Cause
right?
they're missing, yeah.
Yeah. So you got to. It's the same. Even when you got offshore or locals, they were the same. It was the same patterns. You know, like you'd have that 1 or 2 guys that just didn't get it. The other ones are kind of cheating to make it easy because they've been through it once or twice.
Yeah.
It was one of.
And the guys were always amazed when Willie would walk down the row. When Willie would walk down the row,
Yeah.
and he could tell, hey, you should have taken that. And he goes knew exactly what they
Yeah.
took off, and they were always amazed at how he could tell.
Yeah. It's because they're stupid. Some of them.
Well, when
You
you,
just
live,
count the things that are just broken off. You're like,
Yeah.
there's some right there.
You get down to the level that they're priming at. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's only 3 leaves are off or something like that, you just go down and look across, and you can tell the guys that are up here or the guys that are down here, and
Yeah.
the ones that got the leaf on the opposite side always on the plant.
Right.
Like,
not reaching.
but yeah,
Yeah.
it's not hard to tell the good from the bad.
Yeah.
But
So
that's
we're-
the most fun job was priming. You're stuck on a machine with 4 other guys having a blast, hungover as fuck from the night before. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're making good money. Like just sat down, like just got home, maybe changed your clothes, sat down on that cold seat, got slapped in the face with a wet leaf. Picked till noon, right back to the bar. Woo! Priming was the life. It was
Yeah.
awesome. You're stuck out there with like a usually stereo just blasted with
100, yeah.
4 of your best buddies. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it
Lots
was a
of
good-
money to go buy school clothes too, right?
That's right.
When I was about 14, I did tobacco for a season, but I never was in the priming. When I started, it was sand leaves. Go up in the bin and then drive the boat truck. So I got that of getting the shit from
And-
both ends because I was always late. I was never on time because I was really slow at pinning.
Yep.
And I was, weak and small. But that's very, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Mikey, are you automated?
We're automated, yeah. Yeah. So
no
now
primers.
no primers. So now instead of having primers, we just set the level of the automatic prime machine to pick a certain amount of leaves. Like right now we're doing sand leaves, you do 3 to 4 or something like that. And then the next picking we set the machine to pick so many. It's pretty neat how they
Gone
work.
corporate on us.
Yeah, we're big time. Well,
Yeah, but there was this.
either
that-
keep up or get out. That's how the businesses went, right?
There's this Tobacco Grower magazine from 1966. I have it. I found it in my grandpa's hat box that I got his hat in, and inside's an article where they interviewed my grandpa in 1966, and he said he predicted what Mike would be doing right now. He goes, I predict a day where you combine your tobacco and load boxes in the field that you'll bulk cure in these longer boxes. He totally called it before it happened, and he was one of the first to adopt that, wasn't he? Was he the first one of the early adopters to bulk kills?
Yeah, but he bought the bad bulk.
The bad bulk kills. That's why.
Which one were they back then?
Right.
Ta-
Bright leaf. Yeah.
Taylor.
I don't think.
Yeah. There's Taylor and what was the
Clowitz, of course.
Powell's.
Powell's, yeah.
Got some of those. Yeah, it's a different kind of industry. It's like anything else now. It's bulk and quantity.
Well, now it's going to be cannabis, right?
Yep,
So
that's
they're
the next
growing
one coming.
cannabis in the
So-
fields, and
Well, it'd be nice if they
Whoever
let,
makes us
if they
money.
let Agriculture Canada handle cannabis.
Yeah,
It would be nice. Just like if they should have Health Canada handle food, and they should have Agriculture Canada handle crops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
We'd be damn good at growing it.
Damn right.
Like you shouldn't have Agriculture to make the Canada Food Guide. You should make Health Canada do that because we want to keep people healthy. We don't want agriculture people to say eat our product so we can sell more of it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense. to me.
ABC.
Yeah.
You're talking
Anyway, but I want to say before we go, because this is it, it's our family vacation. We have to get back to it. There's a lot of drinking to be done,
Hey.
right? There's no children. My
Chillin'.
brothers and sisters have spent the day being great parents to their kids, and now they want to avoid them at all costs, right? And so we need to get back to our partying. That is a sign that we've been on for an hour.
Wow.
All right, done. And so we got to do one thing before we go. One thing.
Did you get all the feedback done?
Oh, no, I didn't. You know that? The Haitian dwarf.
You had the Haitian dwarf.
I forgot the Haitian dwarf, and I won't do it again.
Way to go, Lori. Good call.
Oh, hi-ho, it's off to bed we go. Hide your smokes, here comes my folks.
Hi-ho, hi-ho.
I made that clean for my mom, Barb Van Dyke. Thank you, Mom. So we got some feedback from the Haitian Dwarf. You know, the Haitian Dwarf's been with us since the very beginning of the show, since episode 1 is where he started talking to us, and we've missed him. He's gone on hiatuses.
He's been on vacation for a bit.
Yeah, and this has been another one of those hiatuses. He's been gone for a while, and now he's back. And this one, he says, he entitles his feedback, which is on iTunes, where he gives us 5 stars. Yeah. He entitles this one, "Good luck with the crop, Michael."
Oh, thanks, HD.
Isn't that a nice one?
I wrote a nice guy.
You know,
We've always got along.
Yeah, you wouldn't think a guy in his line of work and his the type of guy would enjoy what you're doing, growing tobacco.
Maybe he likes to smoke.
Yeah, I bet you he does. Little Haitian dwarf.
Nothing wrong with that.
Anyways, his feedback this week. Why is Dave so good with cake? Which he's referring to the
'Cause
band,
I
think, and the fact that he's so fat.
Fat.
Yeah, is that it?
Yeah, it's because he's fat.
So you know,
I love
I
cake.
think that the Haitian dwarf likes you, Michael, but I don't think he's got the same opinion of Dave. No, I don't. I don't, and I don't know why. I don't know what his
I
problem
like
is.
cake too, HD.
That's true. Paul does. Anyways, Mom and Papa, because this is really you're our guest on the show, is there anything you wanted to say to the adoring listening audience out there? You made you made me, so like you're kind of responsible for what's happening here.
I would apologize.
You should apologize to someone for what you put them through. Anyways, I just wanted to honestly. It's not often we get to have you both on the show. You both have been very supportive of all this crazy stuff that I've been doing with my life and I've been going through. And I'm really lucky to have you both as my parents. And I'm really lucky to have all you guys around in my life so that we can have these weeks together. And I wouldn't trade my time with you guys for the world. So I think we're really lucky to have each other. And I love you guys very much. And I do love everyone out there listening to this show. Please tell a friend. Tell them what I'm doing. Tell them what we're all doing, and be a part of it. You know, if you're interested and you got an idea on how you can help us out, just give us a message at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com, or you can, I don't know, fucking carrier pigeon, whatever you want. Smoke signal, Quora.
Yeah, Quora. You're on there.
I'm on there somehow. Snapchat, whatever you got to do. I don't understand any of these things. I might even make a Tinder account just to keep my wife guessing.
That's all Tinder.
Yeah, that's all Tinder. Anyways, until next week, we will see you, NT. See you next Thursday.
Hi-ho.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody.